Our next guest argues that some of the biggest losers in Tuesday's primaries were candidates who were backed by big tech. In the California gubernatorial race, San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, who was backed by tech executives at Google and Palantir, failed to crack the top 5 vote getters. Big tech investors also saw promise in candidate Ethan Egerwall, who was on record criticizing the wealth tax and efforts to regulate technology companies. But he didn't break single digits in the Democratic primary challenge to Silicon Valley rep Ro Khanna. So in a new opinion piece for MS Now, opinion blogger Jahan Jones writes that the losses are a reminder that candidate quality and policy position still very much matter. He joins us now. Thank you so much for being here. So tell us a little bit more about this backlash, because we've seen the polls shift in recent months on AI in particular.
Yes.
We have also seen the mere mention of AI get booed at commencement addresses across the country, because it's fears of people of losing their jobs, but also simply the costs of the data centers and the like. So is that one of the major themes? What are some of the others?
For sure. Well, I would say that for those who are among the growing majority of Americans wary of the rise of artificial intelligence and its corrosive impacts on society, that Tuesday has to be affirming, if for no other reason than it shows that voters who demonstrate discernment can still overcome and overwhelm deep-pocketed big tech benefactors who are excreting their money all over our political system. And, I think that discernment is so important these days more than ever, because it feels like it is under attack, often by these same big tech companies I'm talking about, these companies that spy on us, that steal our data, that delude us, that confuse us, that in many ways allow people to prey on our children, So the fact that you are seeing this backlash from voters who are demonstrating that they still, as dark as things may be, have the wherewithal to discern right from wrong and to push back against these forces that are trying to take control over our political system is encouraging, I think.
How much of this, though, is that Peter Thiel and people like that don't have a great picker? Like, I think back to Blake Masters in Arizona.
Right.
J.D. Vance had to be juiced to win an Ohio, Senate seat. How much of this is that this crew is not, used to picking candidates for likability or even ability to get votes? And so they are uniquely unqualified for what they're doing at this moment.
Yes, unqualified and unlikable, quite honestly. And I don't say that to be rude, but I think there's something to be said about the fact that this pushback that we're seeing toward big tech is not confined to liberals. We're seeing it in the far right as well. It's why the big tech skeptic tint is as inclusive, so inclusive that it includes people as ideologically diverse as like AOC and Steve Bannon. Just a few weeks ago, a bunch of far-right influencers, including Steve Bannon, Amy Creamer, a bunch of other ones, sent Trump an open letter begging him to regulate artificial intelligence. Granted, this letter was tinged with all of the same kind of like messianic schlock that you would expect from far-right influencers, but it just demonstrates that there is this vehement pushback, not just among the left, but across the country toward these big tech overlords and their efforts to gain control of our political system.
Can I add one other possibility here? And you can tell me I'm an idiot, although I think I might be right about this one. I wasn't talking to you, Jonathan. Thank you, though. I know you think I'm an idiot. Is part of the pushback now because it's much more tangible economically? And by that, I mean, 2 years ago, it was like, these tech overlords are controlling our communication system. They're buying up Twitter. They're skewing the conversation, and that was, I don't know, that was just hard to process and less tangible. Now it's, oh my God, they are building massive data centers in my backyard, and they're going to drain the resources and the energy from my community, and we're going to be stuck holding the bag. And it's just economical now. Is that a good kind of the big thing here?
I think the economic impact is a major part of it, but I do think also that part of the issue is that some of these big tech overlords are getting so grotesque with their gambits that it is hard for people to stomach. Like we have been over the past century, it seems, bombarded with all kinds of pop culture examples of like the big tech overlords gain control of society and then they, impose tyranny in all sorts of movies, books, what have you. So I think that it's the easiest thing in the world to reject what we're seeing. And so I do think, the economic impact is a major part of it. But because we're seeing just this power grab get more and more audacious and grotesque, that's what's making people push back.
The lesson, as always, Sam Stein, not an idiot. The new piece available online now. MS Now opinion blogger Jahan Jones. Jahan, thank you so much. Very interesting stuff. We appreciate it. Come back.